Hi everybody, today I'm going to show you another beginner type workout where it's pretty basic movements, but at the same time it's one of those workouts where it's hard as you want to make it, and Maxim might be helping me here in just a little bit as well. So we're going to start off after you do your proper dynamic warm-up for your entire body. We're going to start off by warming up the core. It's actually part of the main workout. So it's going to be a side plank, and so you're just going to get down on your side. So on a beginner basis, you're going to have those knees bent. You want to be in a straight line from your knees all the way up to your head. And then what you're going to do is just make sure the elbow is directly underneath your shoulder, and you're going to lift those hips up as high as you can. Think of pushing your hips forward towards the front of your mat. And if you want a little bit more intensity, really raising that arm up, opening the chest. Now keep your core nice and tight, squeeze your abs and squeeze your glutes. If you do want this a little bit harder, you can straighten those legs, but you do want to make sure that you can maintain keeping those hips up nice and tall. That's a little bit advanced move right there. A mistake that people will do on that is they will really stick their butt out and push their hips back. You want to try to push those hips forward. So think of being in an L shape. Thank you, baby. All right, so try to hold for as long as you can. You might start off only doing 15 to 20 seconds, but try to work yourself up to where you can hold it for maybe even 60 seconds. And then you're just going to repeat that on the opposite side. A little tip is to always try to start on your weaker side, and that's the side that feels more awkward. So with me, that's actually my stronger side, so I should start with the other side when I'm doing that exercise. So that's just a little tip there. All right, so perform 1 to 2 sets of each of those, and then you'll rest about 60 seconds. And then your next superset is going to be step-ups and a wall slide. So step-ups for the lower body. Just find like a staircase. If you have a set of like a riser, some risers with a stepping bench, like you see at the gym, you can use one of those. We have a really sturdy coffee table, so I will use that sometimes, but the stairs work just fine. Obviously, the higher the steps, the more intense it's going to be. So what you're going to do is just step up, take the weaker side first, make sure that your entire foot is on the step so you can really drive from the heel. You're going to step up, squeeze that hip and thigh, control yourself back down, and then come right back up, nice and tall. And really, again, drive through the heel, and really, you want to push. So you probably are having a hard time seeing me there. Push your hip back so you can drive from the heel, because if you don't, you're typically going to drive that knee forward ahead of your toes, which you don't want to do. So when you're coming down, really push your butt back and then come right back up. And then you'll repeat for anywhere from like probably 8 to 12 repetitions per side. All right, and then the next exercise is a wall slide, which looks very basic and really simple, but it's pretty challenging, especially if you have a really tight chest. So you're going to take your arms, push them up against the wall. Think of pushing them into the wall as hard as you can and staying as flat as possible. Your feet can maybe be just a few inches away from the wall. Also, the back of your head, the back of your shoulders, and your butt are all touching, and think of pushing your belly button in towards your spine or towards the wall. And you're just going to slide up as far as you can without coming off the wall at all, and then down. When you're pushing up, think of squeezing your shoulders. When you're coming down, think of doing a lat pull and really squeezing right here in your lats. A lot of times people are going to be like this because they're so tight, they literally cannot get their wrists flat against the wall. And if you can't, that's okay. Just do the best that you can. Just try to stay as flat as you can. As soon as you feel yourself starting to arch, that's probably the range of motion where you should just stop there. So maybe if this is your range of motion, that's okay. Just work with that until you can start to get more and more. I'm generally kind of tight in my chest, so I can't go as high up as somebody like my husband, who's very flexible on his shoulders. So we've all got a different range of motion, so just do the best that you can. So do 1 to 2 sets of each of those, and then rest about a minute in between sets. And then the next exercise is going to be a hip raise. Eric, do you want to do the hip raise with me? No, he's mad. He got in a little bit of trouble. So, all right. So for hip raises or hip extensions, you're just going to lie down on feet about hip distance apart, toes pointing straight forward. And I like to go just on my heels, so then I know I'm driving through my heels and not through the balls of my feet or my toes. And you're basically just gonna lift those hips up as high as you can, squeeze with your glutes, not with your back. So if you feel it in your back, it's because you're using your back and you're not squeezing your glutes. And I know it's probably kind of a crude analogy, but think of that you're squeezing the last dime to your name between your butt cheeks and you don't want to drop it, okay, because it's the last dime to your name. And then you should feel your glutes contract. You should feel the contraction right in here. You might get a little bit in your hamstrings as well, and then just keep those abs nice and tight. So just up, hold for about a split second, and then just control it back down. If you want it a little bit harder, you can bend those elbows. You can also extend those arms up in front. You just want to make sure that those hips stay nice and even. All right, so that's your hip extension. And then the last exercise is a prone T-raise, where you're just going to go face down on the floor, pull those abs in, squeeze your butt, and you're just going to lift the arms straight up like this. And you're actually lifting from your shoulders, not just your arms. A lot of times people don't even engage their shoulders. Think of squeezing that same dime right in between your shoulder blades, strengthening that upper back. And it's not lifting from your chest either. It's coming from the shoulder joint. At the same time, you want to be squeezing your abs. You're pulling them away from the floor and then squeezing your butt as well. And think of exhaling as you lift, inhaling as you lower. And that is pretty much it for your beginner workout. So I hope you enjoyed it, and just really pay attention to your form and make every repetition count.